shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your no-fluff guide to artificial intelligence in higher ed. I'm Mallory Willsea, bringing nearly 20 years of edtech and marketing expertise straight to your earbuds. Higher ed leaders are expected to master AI overnight, but let's be real, no one has time to sift through every headline, hot take, or research report. That's why every Monday, I'll break down what actually matters. Fast, clear, and to the point. Want to sound like the smartest person in the room at your next team meeting? You're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome to Enrollify's 2025 Hall of Fame series, where we bring back some of our most insightful guests who've appeared across multiple shows on the network. In this special edition, we're spotlighting conversations that continue to shape the way we think about enrollment marketing. First up is Faton Sopa. Faton is the co-founder and CEO of Manifera. Faton's research and insights into how students discover, evaluate, and choose colleges have challenged long-held assumptions in higher ed marketing. Across several Enrollify shows, he's unpacked the seismic shifts happening in student search behavior, from the rise of Reddit, TikTok, and AI to the growing demand for authenticity and discoverability over control. We've pulled some of the most powerful clips from his conversations. Now, let's hear Faton on the application with Allison Tercio.
We had a lot of questions at the beginning of this research, but what we didn't expect to find actually was how big Reddit has become in the college search process. We have been invested a lot on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and other channels, but Reddit was we didn't expect it to be so influential at the college search process. It's not that it was the first stop the student went through, but it became the best place where students search to find comments about other students and to look for authentic stories, what their college life looked like, and what are some struggles that they went through during the college search process, or was the college worth it? So this was mostly occurrent during the shortlist and the decision stage, where students were mostly looking for validation and actually listening from students who went through the same. And what we have experienced running hundreds of Reddit audits for higher education institutions is that the vast majority of institutions do not have a clue about what's happening on Reddit, about their institution. And for some of them, what they are reading on Reddit might not be so good about their brand. So that is one thing that we have identified that higher ed institutions might need to look more up to and participate more into the conversation so they can influence it.
So already we've got one actionable takeaway to go check out what's being said about your institution on Reddit and develop a strategy around that. I think one of the things that's interesting about your report is that you surveyed students across different kinds of segments. You had undergraduates in there, graduates, you had adult learner. What were some of the biggest unifying behaviors you saw regardless of the segment?
One of the clearest takeaway across all segments, whether that be undergrad, grads, or adult learners, was that the journey that they went through looked omnichannel. Regardless of the age, the life stage, or the goals, they were not sticking only to just one source of information. They were piecing together information from multiple sources in form of a mosaic, like Google, social media, communities, YouTube, Reddit, and TikTok. And based on what they found out there, they were forming their own opinions. And actually, we found that more than 87% of students use multiple platforms during their search. So this was among all segments. And when they have done so, deliberately. So it wasn't the case that they were just bouncing from one channel to another channel. the main reason they moved from one channel to another was that single channel could not give them everything they needed and everything they wanted. Some left Google before because they wanted more personal opinions, and some others left colleges because they wanted real talks from Reddit, and some others wanted more fast answers and they want to AI search. So this behavior tells us that students are actually more in control of the process. So we are not relying on what the university is telling them, what the admission team is telling them. They are doing the research themselves, so they are acting kind of generalists, and they are triangulating between what they hear from the college against what they hear from the students, influencers, and from forums, and they are just asking themselves, can I trust this information? And the second thing is that there is no any single platform out there that is enough anymore. We have seen students going from traditional search to TikTok and YouTube, searching for a different type of content. And what is unifying between all these segments is that they are trying to validate, and what they're looking is making sure they are taking the right decision before they apply or even before they choose to attend a college or not.
What I love about that insight is how it reframes our idea of student research. It's not linear, it's layered, and that makes discoverability a must. Next, let's shift to a conversation from AI for You, where Faton digs even deeper into how AI is accelerating these changes and reshaping the way students validate their options.
We anticipated that there might be some changes on the way that the different generations and different segments use those channels. So we wanted to verify that. And what we ended up having with the data is that yes, there are some search behaviors that are the same among segments, but there are some that were like quite surprising. And we designed the research on that way that we can analyze those segments separately, but at the same time, we can compare them with each other so to have more deep understanding into their full decision cycle. So when it comes to the differences, what was most interesting finding was the AI. In the undergraduate segment, about 12% use AI in their search. And this is mostly happening during the awareness discovery and during the shortlist. So they are still relying on Google and social media and Reddit and other platforms, but they are going to AI to make comparison and to fact check what they are finding on other platforms. The other groups, the graduate, the adoption is higher there, is 22%, and AI is showing up more in the shortlisting phase. What this segment is actually doing on AI is that they are comparing degrees and programs with each other. They are evaluating if they fulfill the admission requirements and to check the rankings of colleges, universities there. And actually, this goes in line with what we expect, because AI is able to provide those fast answers to them. So instead of them going to Google and explore 10 or 20 pages and then form an opinion on their own, they don't have to open those pages anymore. They just go to AI search, they type prompts, and then AI gives them all the programs, the admission requirement, and then they upload their CV on that and their background, and they say, tell me, am I eligible? And tell me, do I have chances to get admitted at this college? What was more surprising than that was actually the adult learners. By far, these were the highest adoption segment. 30% of them were using AI, mostly doing AI and awareness and shortlist stage. For them, it's more about speed and efficiency, and it is understandable because they are going through a lot happening in their life. They want to balance work, family, and study, and they want very concise answers. This was the group that, on all cases, were using AI more than any other group on the research. We didn't expect that. we expected that the graduate, especially undergraduate, were using AI more. That was not the case. And I think this is very important, especially for institutions that target adult learners with their programs. So it is without any dilemma that being on AI search is going to help you to get more eyeballs and more latent applications and eventually more students at the bottom of the line. The strategic insight here is that like AI's influence is not uniform among generations, but it is already shaping those decisions. While for undergrads, it's still secondary, for adult learners, it's quite central in the decision-making process. So it is very important for institutions to be visible, especially for the audiences that they are targeting.
Those numbers are staggering, especially adult learners leading AI adoption. But AI isn't the only force here. In fact, students are actively switching platforms at critical decision points. In this next clip from Higher Ed Pulse, you'll hear Faton and me explore recommendations for optimizing for AI search, the importance of AI audits, and how institutions must treat AI as a core part of the decision journey.
Well, I think the first step towards that is to stop treating AI like it is just a recent platform, an emerging platform that has no impact on the student decision. That is not what's happening. AI is already baked into the way that the students are searching for college. I mean, one thing that all research show that is that AI is not replacing other platforms. It is only complementing them. For example, one thing we've seen happening is that student might find your school through Google or social, but then they will go to ChatGPT and ask things like, what are the best universities for adult learners? Or one thing that we have seen happening is that here's my CV. Does this program fit my background and career goals? So these kind of prompts are very focused on specific things that are very goal-oriented, and there is a high intent behind them. So it is quite important for ad marketers to actually be able to understand what prompts and what questions are their future students are asking to all these AI platforms, and be able to build a content strategy and an AI strategy beyond that, so that they can answer those questions and be visible when their students are searching for them. And one of the most useful things that higher marketers can start doing is start to improve their AI search presence by running an AI visibility audit. Like literally, I mean, you can simulate the student journey inside the AI search by running the prompts that simulate what students are asking AI during each stage of the college search journey. What shows up when you ask AI about your programs? Are your competitors being mentioned there? Are those old rankings, articles speaking for you? And all these similar questions that will help you to understand what is your visibility on AI. And not doing this only one time, you have to do this consistently, because the results are very dynamic, they are generated on the spot, and you can be visible today, but things might change after 1 day or 2 or 1 week. So this shift how we think about the content authority in the first place. Because today, institutions' brand authority is not only built but what you have on your website. I mean, you mentioned that research that AI is pulling information from multiple sources. That is very correct. And I believe that institutions that will grasp this opportunity now, that optimize their presence not only on the website, not only for Google, but for omnichannel SEO, and make sure that everything that you have about your program or your school, your campus, is consistent across all this channel. Those schools will have a significant advantage when AI gains more traction into the college search. Which, to be honest, we see it happening, and I can't wait for the next year report to see what is the impact of AI on the college search process.
What stands out here is the idea of intentional switching. Students aren't just scrolling, they're strategically validating, fact-checking, and seeking authentic voices. And if institutions don't meet them in those moments, they risk disappearing from the decision-making process. To close out our highlights, let's head to the Higher Ed Geek podcast, where Faton connects these patterns into a bigger strategic shift for higher ed leaders.
My first hope with research is that will not be something that higher ed marketers will skim through to find stats, but use it as the decision-making tool. So here it is, a research that you can take to your president, your board, or your faculty and say, like, here's a hard evidence that students are not just searching on Google. Here's a proof for that. And here's where they are searching, and here's why we need to invest differently. And I think that changes the opinion and the conversation from opinion and assumptions to data. And I hope that this pushes the institutions to shift from a mindset of a channel mindset to a student journey mindset. I would say, like, don't fight for more noise, fight for more clarity. What I mean is that students today students today do not think in terms of channel. They don't care about channels. All they care about is getting their questions answers. So they're asking, what can I do with this degree? Can I afford it? Will I belong here? And your job as a change maker in your institution is to make sure that those questions are answered very clearly, consistently, and in all places the students are actually asking them. And so on their best interest, you can influence their decisions. Because the trap that I see a lot of schools fall into is like treating their marketing like a series of campaigns. For example, they do big push of awareness, big push of applications, but they are completely silent in between. But we need to understand that the students do not stop asking questions just because a campaign ends. So my advice to higher ed marketers out there would be to start mapping the student journey first and then build your strategy around that. And you can start this very simply. Like we can pick a program, you can find out the real question that students are asking during each stage, during awareness and discovery stage, during shortlist stage, and during decision and apply stage, and then audit whether you have the answers in those places. Are you present in those places? Are you present efficiently with the right data on the right time? And that is your roadmap, basically. Because when you discover these questions and what is your position and your visibility into those questions, that is a starting point for you. And you can start building your strategy around that.
Faton reminds us that search isn't a channel, it's a behavior. And that behavior is evolving faster than most institutions realize. Whether it's AI audits, Reddit conversations, or rethinking content for discoverability, the opportunity is clear. Meet students where they are, with the answers they need, when they need them. That's the power of listening to voices like Faton Sopa. Thanks for joining us for this Hall of Fame episode. Stay tuned for more episodes spotlighting the leaders shaping the future of higher education marketing. Thanks for listening to the Higher Ed Pulse. The show is a proud member of the Enrollify Network, home to Higher Ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow. So be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit Enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.